Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel, where we talk about all things BTS, the love that binds them, and of course, the relationship that always takes center stage. Jikook. Today, we'll be diving into one of the hottest topics among ARMYs lately. The rumor that Jimin and Jungkook are drifting apart, while Taekookers are treating them as if they're not even close friends. Is it true that Jikook is drifting apart? Or is this just a rumor exaggerated by the endless fandom debate? BTS isn't just a band. They're a family, a brotherhood, and a source of inspiration to millions around the world. But behind the glitz and glamour of the stage, small stories often emerge that escalate into big rumors, especially when it comes to the members' personal relationships. Jikook, the combination of Jimin and Jungkook, has always been at the forefront of fans' attention due to their genuine, warm, and often heart-pounding closeness. However, precisely because of this, every small change in their interactions is often magnified, analyzed, and even used as a reason to spread the narrative that they are drifting apart. Recently, there have been suggestions that Jimin and Jungkook are no longer seen together as often as they used to. Their interactions in front of the camera seem less frequent, while moments between Jungkook and Taeyoung are more prominent. This has sparked widespread speculation, especially from Taekookers, who say that Jikook is no longer relevant, that their relationship is merely fan service, and some even go so far as to declare them no longer close friends. This statement has undoubtedly caused a huge uproar among Jikookers, who have always seen concrete evidence of Jimin and Jungkook's close relationship. The question is it true that Jikook is drifting apart? To answer this, we need to delve deeper, not just into their recent interactions, but also into their long journey as friends, brothers, and perhaps something more. Jimin and Jungkook have been through so much together since their trainee days. They grew up under the same pressure, struggled from the bottom, and endured difficult moments that only those truly in the inner circle can understand. This kind of bond isn't something that can be lost just because they're not always seen sitting side by side or joking around in front of the camera. However, it's undeniable that the change in group dynamics has also affected the way they present themselves to the public. Jungkook, now more mature, often displays a more independent side, while Jimin has also matured in his own way. This has led some fans to feel that they no longer need each other as much as they once did. However, if we look more closely, the change is more about how they express their closeness, not the loss of closeness itself. Jungkook, who used to rely on Jimin, is now more independent, but that doesn't mean Jimin is no longer his rock. Similarly, Jimin may not pamper Jungkook as much as he once did, but we can still see the caring look in his eyes whenever Jungkook speaks or performs. On the other hand, Taekookers often interpret moments between Jungkook and Taeyoung as proof that Jikook's closeness is merely an illusion. They cling to the laughter-filled interactions, physical contact, and natural comfort between Taeyoung and Jungkook, then use them to deny the existence of an emotional connection between Jimin and Jungkook. However, the reality is not that simple. BTS is a 7-member group with complex friendship dynamics. No single relationship can be compared in a black and white way. Jungkook can have emotional intimacy with Jimin while simultaneously sharing a carefree joy with Taeyoung. The two are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementary. However, the fandom often forces a narrative that makes us feel like we have to choose one over the other. Supporting Jikook means rejecting Taekook and vice versa. This mindset ultimately makes their relationship seem like a competition, when, for the BTS members themselves, it's simply a different form of friendship. The problem is, when Taekookers say Jikook isn't even a friend, they're actually diminishing a relationship that's much deeper and more complex than just on-camera interactions. Jimin and Jungkook aren't just friends on stage. They're a part of each other's lives, through thick and thin. Let's take a look. Let's revisit several moments that demonstrate how close Jikook is, even when the public feels they're distant. One example is when Jimin secretly appeared on Jungkook's live broadcast just to offer support. The moment may seem simple, but it actually holds great meaning. That even though he's not always physically around, Jimin is still present during Jungkook's important moments. Similarly, when Jimin released his song, Jungkook was one of the first to openly show his support. They don't need to show everything in front of the camera because their closeness extends beyond the stage. The change in how they express their relationship is often mistaken for distance. In fact, it shows that they've reached a level of comfort that no longer requires public validation. This is different from the early days, when they often displayed sweet interactions openly because that was their way of expressing themselves within the group. Now, they know that what they have doesn't need to be shown to anyone. And that's precisely the beauty of it. Taekookers who say Jikook isn't even a friend are clearly ignoring the long history of their friendship. They forget that Jimin was once one of the people who fought hardest to protect Jungkook during difficult times. They forget that Jungkook has repeatedly called Jimin the person who helped him grow the most. They forget that intimacy isn't always achieved through hugs or laughter in front of the camera, but rather through comfort, silent attention, and a shared presence that isn't always visible to the naked eye. If we look deeper, the speculation about Jikook drifting apart actually stems more from the expectations of fans who are used to seeing them a certain way. When that pattern changes, it's immediately assumed there's a problem. However, these changes are natural as they grow as individuals. We can't expect them to remain the same as they were in their teens or early 20s. They're evolving, and so is their relationship. Jikook is still Jikook, with or without the spotlight. Their relationship is something that can't be measured by the number of interactions on variety shows or sweet moments at concerts. It's something that runs much deeper, something that can't be erased just because other fandoms try to suspect its existence. And precisely because of that, the narrative that they're just friends is nothing but a baseless distraction. Ultimately, what we need to realize is that all the BTS members love each other in their own way. No one is more or less. It's just that the form of love varies from couple to couple. Jimin and Jungkook may seem more mature, calmer, and less likely to show sweet gestures, but that doesn't mean they're missing out on each other. While Jungkook and Taeyoung may seem more carefree and full of laughter, that doesn't mean their relationship is any less special. All of that is part of their friendship as 7 brothers who have weathered so many storms together. So, did Jungkook break up? The answer is no. They didn't drift apart, they simply grew. And when Taekookers try to say they're not even friends, that only reflects their own bias, not reality. Because the truth is, nothing can tear apart a bond that's been formed since those hard-fought days in a small practice room, long before the world knew BTS. And there you have it, ARMY, our long discussion about the much-talked-about issue of whether Jikook is truly drifting apart, or whether this is just a fantasy created by differing opinions within the fandom. From all the moments we've witnessed together, one thing remains clear. The relationship between Jimin and Jungkook is not something that can be broken by mere rumors or one-sided opinions. They've been through so much, from their struggling trainee days to the pinnacle of global success, and the bond formed over that journey won't fade just because they don't always show it all in front of the camera. For us as fans, perhaps the most important thing is to learn to appreciate all the friendships within BTS. Each member has a unique bond with each other, and that's precisely what makes BTS so special. Jikook will always be Jikook, with a warmth and depth that can't always be seen with the eye, but can be felt in the heart. So, what do you think? Do you also feel that Jikook is simply more mature in the way they express their relationship? Or do you still believe there's a distance forming? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any more discussions about BTS and their emotional moments. See you in the next video, and remember, no matter what happens, our love for BTS will always unite us. Borahi, Purple Heart.